Good evening, everyone. We're still here, although tonight without Lucas. We get to let him take a vacation doing whatever stupid thing it is that he does when he's not here. Probably, I don't know, bleaching something. So tonight for me, I have Rob as my co-host.
Good evening.
Other than that, it's just going to be me hosting. Well, me and Rob. So, no, you know what? No, Rob's not actually here. It's my show now. I'm now saying it's my show. I don't know what's going on. See, this is what happens when I don't have Lucas to like throw things at. I just throw things at anything at arm's reach. So tonight, at least, we are doing this a little different than we normally would. We're basically just going to be going over one topic in general, and that's just going to be me and Rob. Whoop, nope, that's not the right one. See, this is what happens. I have no idea what I'm doing. Me and Rob talking about how we both used to be supporters of the GOP and what led us away from that moment. But before we get into all that, Rob and I have a little bit of a beef because Rob is wearing a hat which is not appropriate at all. And I say this because, listen, I'm upset that the Bengals beat the Titans. I would rather we not had that situation where a wild Tannehill appeared and decided that he was just going to start bouncing passes off of receivers into the hands of the Bengals defensive line. But I got to respect the fact that we put Joe into the ground 9 times. We were basically just standing there on the sidelines with the shovel with Joe Burrow's name written on it, right? Ready to continue. And we just kept on burying him. And he just kept on getting back up. So even though they beat the Titans, I got to pull for the Bengals on this one simply because I feel like anytime there's a playoff record for most sacks and the guy still gets up to win, come on.
But Aaron Donald.
It's true.
9 times? I'm sure Aaron Donald's sitting somewhere 9 times. I think we can do 10.
I mean, I am disturbed by the wait, I found the banners. See, Lucas, I can't be taught. He's gonna be back in the show being like, what I gave you the controls for one night and you couldn't figure them out. I'm like, it's because you didn't organize them. That's why, Lucas. No, I mean, with the Rams, I am very concerned by the fact that we have a wild Tannehill and you have a wild Cup. Which I'm pretty sure like your offensive line can just hang back and like think for a second. It's like the pocket collapses and be like, fuck it. Cup's down there somewhere.
there's actually a meme of Stafford backwards like, fuck it. Cup's down there somewhere.
I mean, he's
our OBJ.
Right. But I mean the Cup situation is man, I wish we had a receiver like that.
You and your team and 30 other teams wish they had.
That's not okay.
The 49ers wish they had someone like that. Kyler Murray wishes someone like that.
Don't even get me started on the fucking 49ers. I mean, I don't even understand. Here's the thing. I wanted Aaron Rodgers to get his face planted into the pitch at fucking Green Bay. Him and Brady are examples of the asshole quarterback. Here's the thing. Tannehill will full on admit he's an asshole, but he does things to try and mitigate his assholeness, right? And I can appreciate that. I'm like, you're an asshole. You know you're an asshole, and you know that's not good. And you should do things to mitigate being an asshole.
By choking?
Roger, what?
By choking?
What? Right. Or choking. I mean, yeah, definitely mitigate the choking. But I mean, although I don't think I don't think we can look at Tannehill and say that he choked. I think it's just that matter of a wild Tannehill appeared. It's the problem with Tannehill. It's why I think me personally and a lot of other people are like, we need to start looking for another quarterback. Not because Tannehill is bad at his job necessarily. It's because you don't know which Tannehill you're getting at the snap. You can either get that guy who's threading the needle and putting down these amazing passes, or you can get the guy who is trying to fire a French 75 at the receiver's hands, and there's no way that they can catch it. It's confusing, right?
It's a Jared Goff situation.
Yeah, I mean, I knew we were in trouble. I knew we were in trouble after the Steelers game, where it would have just been more efficient for everyone involved, including the fans, if Tannehill had just walked up to the Steelers' defensive line and just kept handing them the ball, being like, "Here, I think you dropped something."
He was trying to be nice to Roethlisberger. He was retiring,
No, I mean, it was just so bad. It was so bad, and it was so embarrassing to a team that was 6-6, and here's Tannehill trying to make the case that the Titans belong in the playoffs, and 4 interceptions in a single game. It's just at that point I knew we were in trouble. Like either this never happens again, or this is going to keep on happening, and we're going to barely drag ourselves to the playoffs, which is what happened. And then we're going to throw we're going to throw either crucial or a bunch of interceptions in the playoff game, and we'll never make it to the Super Bowl. Like before the Steelers game, I was seriously considering putting some money down on the Titans, and then after that game, I'm like, nope. Rather go spend that on hookers and blow. Be more useful.
It's a bigger payoff,
right? Because Titans didn't win the Super Bowl. I mean, I think the only thing that you all really have to worry about is because the Bengals did it to us, and they turned around and did it to the Chiefs. That defensive line is, no one's been really talking about the story of the Bengals defensive line, but they make those interceptions happen. They are moving around and hunting. And while I don't know what necessarily if they have an answer to Kupp, if they just keep Kupp in double coverage, y'all could have a rough night.
But that opens up things for OBJ and Van Jefferson.
Right, but I mean, again, that's what we thought that would happen with Henry, right? Well, you have to keep on piling people in front of Henry. That should make something happen downfield. But that never happened with the Bengals. They were just like, no. Our defensive line is fast enough that we can keep on moving. Keep people, keep your receivers covered, and we can make those, crucial turnovers happen. Yeah. They did it to us, and they did it to the Chiefs. And I'm warning you, they're going to do it to you.
Yeah,
they're going to do it to you when you least expect it.
But the Buccaneers game, they had Kupp pretty much covered throughout the game, and then a couple times, late, those 2 passes, and bye Brady.
Well, I mean, I don't. Here's the thing: I've never been impressed truly by any team that Brady has been on, because the problem with any team that Brady is on, it becomes the Brady show, right? That's the real issue. Is it becomes the Brady show, and the moment it becomes the Brady show, I feel like a lot of things fall apart, and it's just everything just rests on Brady. And if Brady's off, Brady's off. I mean, all it takes is someone who's not afraid of him, and he's going to have a bad day. And someone pointed out like the record of Tom Brady versus every other team in the NFL. And there's one team that stands out, and that's Breezes, man. That's the Saints and Breezes. And Breezes would just look at him and be like, "No, I'm not afraid of you. I'm going to win." And I feel like that's part of what kept Brady going, right? Is what's happened this time with this playoff, I think, is that Stafford came in and Stafford wasn't afraid of Brady. And I think now Brady's at an age where without anyone to be afraid of him, it's not going to get any better from here.
It's not fun for him anymore. Yeah.
It's not just that it's not fun for him anymore. It's that he's not leading. He may lead the Bucks back to another playoff next year, but without that fear, I don't think he takes him to the Super Bowl ever again.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And when you got, if I'm not sure what their cap situation is, but if you have a cap issue, then, you have to make changes. You may not be the same team coming back this next year.
Oh, yeah. I mean, you got cap. And I've always been really confused about how Tampa Bay is organized. I mean, their stadium is like an oversized community center, right?
Right.
Because they're just looking at, well, people are watching on television or streaming it. No one's coming to the game, so we don't care. And I feel like for professional sports, that takes something away, that idea. And I think with Tampa Bay in general, I think there is an issue with it being. I mean, it's the same thing with the Raiders now, right? It's they're using, but both the Raiders and the Bucks are used as a tourist attraction, not as a genuine part of the community, right? The Raiders in Oakland were part of the Oakland community. The Giants, as much as they suck, are part of the New York community. The Jets are part of the New York community and New Jersey.
Emphasis on New Jersey.
New Jersey. I mean, if you were in Boston, the Pats are part of the community.
Yeah.
If you're in Cleveland, Jesus, are the Browns part of the community, right?
They're threaded in the community.
Right. That's the entire purpose of Cleveland these days. Now that all the factories are shut down, is simply to have people reproduce Browns fans. The NFL goes around and like sabotages condoms and birth control all over the city just to make sure that we have to keep making Browns fans. So I mean, I think, and you talk to people from Detroit, and be like, yeah, I know Detroit is the worst team in the history of the NFL, but I'm still going to cheer for the Lions because they're from Detroit. I'm in Detroit. That's what happens. I think that without that, in a team, I think that you start to run into an issue of is it really worth it to some of these guys? I think when Brady was playing for the Pats and you had the community around Boston, cheering for him, that was one thing. When you have him playing for the Bucks, and there's really just no community to support him. He's there as he's like Evander Holyfield being a greeter at a casino. Except more work.
But he's got more ear safety there,
Oh. That went dark.
I couldn't resist. I mean, the minute you mentioned Holyfield, it's like my mind just
So it's definitely it's going to be an interesting game. We're going to see. I mean, I think we're truly looking at a battle of two offenses, and it's going to be whether or not they say defense wins games, offense wins championships. I think we're just going to have to see whose defense Ironically, I think I just said it's a battle of two offenses. I think both offenses are adequately capable. I think it's going to be a matter of whose defense is going to do the better job of containing at this point.
Right.
Again, I gotta like Joe for it. It doesn't matter how many times they bury him in the dirt. He's just going to keep on getting back up. And I don't know if we can say the same about Stafford.
He's not. I'll say this about Burrow. He's not. When he gets knocked down, he's not rattled.
No. I mean, he can have his O-line collapse all the way around him, and he's still in the fight.
Yeah.
I don't know if Stafford can say the same thing.
I think I've seen him kind of progress since he got. I mean, when he first started, he felt like he had to do everything on his own because that's what he had to do in Detroit. And then as the years kind of progressed, he's kind of figured out his targets. Cup, Higbee, Sony Michelle, and now they got Akers back. He's distributing it more, and I think that's why he's not throwing as much interceptions in the playoffs as he was towards the regular season. Like against that Titans game, that was horrible. I mean, he was just throwing before they knew it. They're down 21-0 or something at home.
Yeah.
But
I mean,
we'll see.
Again, when Tannehill shows up, I feel like they need to give him some version of a COVID test every time, he before every 4 downs. They need to pull him over to the sidelines, shove a Q-tip up his nose, and be like, "Is good? No, send in the backup." No. It's a wild Tannehill. Sit him down for 4 downs. Let him sit out for however many downs, and then we'll test him again before he goes back in. So it's going to be a great game. But it's probably time that we go ahead and move into our main topic this evening. So for those of you who don't know, I used to work for the GOP. I actually worked in the United States Senate as a staff assistant for the late Senator Thomas from Wyoming. Before that, I was active in the state party, much to their disappointment. And Rob was also a member of the GOP. And both of us left the GOP for different reasons. I've told my story a couple of times in bits and pieces, but I'd like Rob. Rob, go ahead and,
okay,
sort of break down where you were and why, the first pieces of where you wanted to say, "Hey, listen, I don't know if this is right for me anymore."
Right. Well, let's see. Let's start. My brother is probably my biggest influence in politics because he was really into politics, and he kind of got me hooked into it. He was with the Young Republicans, and got to meet Jeb Bush actually one time at a conference in San Diego. So that kind of got me into it. I think in 1988 was the first, presidential election that I kind of, was kind of into, even though I couldn't vote then because I think I was a couple of years shy of 18 at the time. But yeah, no, I was really because I like Reagan at the time. I thought and still do that George H.W. Bush was an honorable man compared to what we see now. So yeah, I was a Republican, and then the Bill Clinton used to drive me crazy. And I was like, I look back at this now, I'm like, what the hell is wrong with me? I mean, I was totally in with Newt Gingrich. But no, I think
seek medical attention for that, by the way. If any of you all still have that problem, I'm sure there's an ointment.
Got a case of the Newt? Here you go. But no, I think where I started to drift was probably the later years of George W. Bush years, when things started really going to the toilet with the economy, and then just the wars, and then you had Obama elected, and then you got into the whole Tea Party movement, And that was a further divide for me because I thought it was basically, they were racist in the way the birth certificate and everything was totally racist. And then 2011. Well, we have
Black people aren't born in the United States, right?
right.
That doesn't actually happen.
2011. We welcome our first daughter, and she's biracial. So I become really race conscious more than I was before, especially living in Mississippi at the time.
Yep.
So that was kind of my divide. And Trump was just like the complete divorce from the party at that point. So.
Oh Jesus. That fucking guy. I mean, was there a specific issue that you can look at that was like, hey, like
the birth certificate by far. The birth certificate was
the chink. Like, that was the chink in the armor there.
I thought that was so freaking racist. And they're trying to hide it that it wasn't, but it was so obvious that it was freaking racist. Well,
I mean, to recap some of how I was a Republican, I come from a very politically active family. My grandfather was a former chair of the Wyoming RNC. I would get Christmas cards from people like Alan Simpson. To me personally, for being, Howie McDaniel's grandson. I'm like, oh, I mean, that's how important he was to the party. I would hear stories growing up about, these lions of the old Republican Party, like Ben Nighthorse Campbell, Alan Simpson, and Jack Kemp.
Yeah.
These were people who, were supposed to exemplify what it meant to be a good Republican. And I grew up with that, right? I mean, and anything and in my growing up, anything that the Democrats said bad about the Republicans was just simply their own political maneuverings, right? They're all just a bunch of crybabies. I mean, in my mind, I'm thinking they're all just a bunch of crybabies, and this is a better way of doing things. I should also mention that my father was an economist, right? And I was raised with understanding economics, understanding supply and demand. And I grew up with that idea of supply side economics works.
Heavy dose of Milton Friedman. I'm guessing here.
Yeah. No, actually, no. Dad was not Milton Friedman. Milton Friedman was too much of a sissy hippie for Dad. He was all the way back to Hayek, and early von Mises. No. None of these wishy-washy American economists who've been overly influenced by Keynes. It had to be all the original Austrians, all the way back. And that's the environment I grew up in. And I earned the nickname the Republican in high school because I was a Republican. I remember going to a rally for Dick Cheney. That was the first election I could ever vote in was the one for George W. Bush.
Okay.
So that's what I did. I voted for George W. And wait, was it George W? No. That wasn't the first election I could vote in. Sorry, I went to the rally. The first election I could vote in was the second election, George W.'s re-election.
Okay,
was the first election I could vote for, I think.
So 04. Okay.
Yeah.
Ironically, I was in Nashville then, so
that was the first election I could vote in, and so did that, and all through college. For me, the thing that started to not make sense was a couple of things. which is the more education I got. First of all, let's just go like with the fact-based stuff. Like the more education I got, I started looking around at the Republican proposals, being like, something's not adding up. Something's not right here. What you're talking about in terms of what you expect from these things doesn't seem to pan out ever in the way that you think it does. Like even when you all are cutting taxes, right? It's not the tax cut that seems to spawn the growth. It's something else almost every single time that's causing an uptick. Normally, because and the question is, well, where's the money going? Well, the more education I got, I'm like, well, it's going into financial instruments. It's not going into this whole concept, this overly simplistic concept of we cut taxes and you all spend more doesn't actually work when you have a financial services industry. Right. Because then I no longer have to spend money on what's called capital assets like factories in order to make money. I can just dump money into a bank and they'll give me, these financial instruments. And I remember making the argument that, no, we can have perpetual growth. And then very quickly in 2008, obviously realizing, oh, no, we cannot.
All those banks that had that money, what? We don't know where it went.
Right. Well, no, they knew where it went. It went into. I mean, because people forget it wasn't the actual the issue wasn't them buying the mortgages. That's not what caused the issue. The issue is when people started looking around, and it's what's called the derivative market, which is basically you buy an insurance policy on that stack of debt. And then someone buys an insurance policy on your insurance policy. And then someone buys an insurance policy on that insurance policy on that insurance policy. And banks were selling these, going, sure, we'll take your money month after month on all these insurance policies. And then when all those insurance policies fail all at once, now the bank owes, instead of the bank just being out the fact that the financial instrument failed, now they're looking at having having to pay out, having the loss of the financial instrument and the loss of all those other insurance policies. So, the finances didn't add up. And then the deeper I got, I tried to be president of my college Young Republicans, and the people who wanted to show up were just avidly bigoted and racist. Very much homophobic and racist. And I wasn't really interested in hanging out with them. I mean, I got angry emails from the state party about North Carolina state party at the time about me failing to live up to my duties. I'm like, well, I've got school, and then I've got, quite frankly, these people who I don't want to deal with, right? They elected me president because I sounded smart, and they were a bunch of fucking morons. Let's just be honest about what happened here. This is not like I made some like grand speech about how I was going to help the group. I'm like, hey, I'm interested in doing this, and I tried to do it, and none of you all wanted to show up, and that's okay because I didn't really care that none of you all wanted to show up because you're awful fucking people. And then after that, I went to go work. I auditioned for auditioned, not interviewed. I auditioned for a job with the state party to be a campaign manager here in Tennessee. And that was, again, another sort of revelatory moment of went to go audition for this guy. And he had a problem with the fact that I was Episcopalian because I wasn't Christian enough for him. I'm like, why would you have a problem with Episcopalians?
Right.
Why would that even enter into your mind that you have a problem with my religion?
Oh, they'd really love me then.
Right? No. You have to remember the key thing about conservative Southern Catholics, or about conservatives, politicians and Catholics, is that you all have Pope magic. This is the only way I've been able to describe it. Catholics have Pope magic, and they don't like abortion, and many conservative Catholic congregations have a long history of being just as racist as conservative evangelical congregations. It's I wouldn't imagine. So we do have a comment. So GH, why do you think so many Republicans give their allegiance to Trump despite all he's done? Do you buy into the cult personality idea? I don't even think it's Trump. If I'm being honest, it's not Trump.
No, he's the vessel. He's the vessel of it.
No, I mean, the thing is that they're just angry. The problem is you have a bunch of people who are just absolutely fuming angry. We before the show, we talked. If I could find an opportunity to knock Joe Rogan, I was going to do it. So it's the same thing with Joe Rogan.
Yes.
Right. Why do so many people listen to a boxing, a former semi-pro athlete? I call him semi-pro. I don't ever consider anything else he's done in his career as pro. Why do a bunch of people want to listen to this guy and take his advice? It makes no sense. I mean, he's literally just spouting nonsense half the time. And it's because they're angry. It's that much rage about their current situation, and they need someone to blame. And I feel like Trump gives them someone to blame in the form of immigrants and anyone who's different than their isolated suburb / exurb community out there. He gives them that. He also gives them license to be angry about it. I feel like a lot of these people don't feel that they have license to be angry about what they think or what they feel like they want to be angry about. Right. They want to be angry about gay people because they don't like gay people. They want to be angry about black people because they think on some level that they're inferior. They want to be angry about what they see as soy boys. What?
Hispanics,
all these people, they want to be angry about them. And then polite society tells them, no, you can't be angry about that because that's not rational and it's not real. But they still feel it.
Yeah.
And Trump and Rogan and MTG and, Cawthorn and Hawley and all these other people give them license to feel that rage about those people and express it. It's okay. I mean, I think that's where the cult comes from. It's this release of being told that being an asshole and being wrong is okay, and that they can go say and do horrible things, and that'll be fine. It's excused because it was just how they felt.
Right. And to get back to Joe Rogan, here's my thing on Joe Rogan. I think, and kind of to his marketing genius a little bit here, that's as much credit I'll give him, is he's figured out how to fill that void with the loss of Rush Limbaugh, as far as having that listenership.
Yeah, I mean, it isn't just. I don't think it's just Rush Limbaugh, because I mean, you've still got Savage out there. You've still got all sorts of other conservative talk radio folks out there. I think,
but he's like a younger, angrier white man.
He is a younger, angrier white man, and he does have that form. But I mean, it is. It's still this matter of being told that it feels okay, or to be allowed to feel that it's okay to be a bigot. That's what they're really after. I think at the end of the day, that's why they follow Trump. Because if you look at him, like, Trump is a super rich guy, He's an asshole. It's very obvious he doesn't give a shit about any of the people who are supporting him. But he tells them it's okay to be a bigot, and they love him for it. That's what I mean. That's where the cult comes from. I also want to address one more of GH's comments here. Do you know anyone who buys into the stolen election stuff? I actually have talked to a couple of people who do buy into that idea about the fact that there's some sort of conspiracy. And I want to speak to that real fast. You know, someone in political science, they make us do this game, right? Where it's called Prisoner's Dilemma. And you draw 4 boxes and then enclose those boxes. And the way it works is this. You have 2 criminals. Both have been arrested. If neither of them talk, neither of them go to prison. If both of them talk, both of them get 10 years. If one of them talks and the other doesn't, then the one who talked gets off, and the one who didn't gets 20 years. So you have 2 boxes here and here, and then another 2 boxes here and here. And so that's how you play the game. And the question is, who would what do people do? And the answer is everyone talks. The reason conspiracy theories fail is because everyone talks. Because the idea that the other guy is in the other room talking and he's going to walk away scot-free, but I'm going to end up with 20 years. No, it's better to risk the 10 years than to take the 20 years. Right. And that's why everyone talks. And so this idea that there's some sort of massive conspiracy, including hundreds of thousands of Americans, none of whom will come forward with evidence. But it doesn't matter, because a conspiracy theory isn't about the actual facts of the case. It's about how it makes you feel, right? That at the end of the day, that's what it's doing. And it's not logical or rational. It's just going to keep on getting worse. And having talked to those people, there's no good way to talk them out of it. It's just simply what they want to feel.
It festers like a bad infection. It's kind of how I see it.
Yeah, I mean, oh wow! When we get to beer break, talk about that one. Oh God! oh wow! Okay.
Take your time.
For those of you watching, this is tobacco, I promise. I just need something. Wow. That is going to be an interesting one. No, I mean, it is what it is. But I mean, coming back to my break with the Republican Party, I mean, the thing that really broke me was, as a Southerner, and it's the same thing. It's the same as yours, Rob. It was the race thing.
Yeah.
Because when I was working on the Hill, and to basically hear people who I know are not racists be like, yeah, we're going to make Obama's race an issue. Because that's what our supporters want us to do. And I'm like, I'm a Southerner. I mean, my despite being someone who's a Republican, my parents marched with King against segregation. How can we be in favor of this level of? I'm listening to you all say that you're going to endorse racism because you know it's what your voters want. At that point, you're not leading people. You're just being, you're being bigots for hire.
Right.
And that, and to me, and it feeds right back into that same thing, we were talking about earlier, which is it's that license to feel okay about being a bigot. And I feel like that's the major vehicle I feel like the Republican Party is offering people. I feel like people who make a little bit of money and they're angry that they don't make more. They want to feel entitled to feel angry about the fact that they don't make more, and it's someone's fault.
Yeah. Straw man's argument. Yeah,
exactly. It's like, well, I made $150,000 a year. Why should I pay those taxes to the government? Well, you should pay some taxes to the government. You should also be
Right.
really in favor of someone like Jeff Bezos handing over a whole paycheck every single goddamn month.
Yeah. Which is another thing I don't get is why poor people or not poor people, poor Republicans are dead set against a higher tax on people that are so much richer than they are, because you can't have higher taxes. Yes, you're voting against your own self-interest here.
No, it's pretty intense.
Yeah,
it is pretty intense. But again, it's that license. That's what it became. It's that license to behave badly, and to feel okay about being made to feel okay with it. And with the economic policy stuff, it's always just so shocking, because here you're dealing with something that should be easy. It's raw numbers, right? I can say, listen, okay, you cut taxes. What percentage growth in GDP did I get out of that tax cut? Okay. What did I lose in revenue and spending associated with that tax cut? If the gain is bigger than the loss, great. That idea of cutting taxes works. If it's not, then we have a problem.
A big problem.
We have a big problem. And the problem is the Republican Party keeps on not acknowledging basic mathematics. And it's been going on for a while. I mean, it's even with science denialism, right? To me, this would be a great opportunity. If I were a classic Friedman, economist, Friedman, not Keynes, not some wishy-washy, Kurzweil or any of these other, none of the rest of these guys, right? Not Fredericks, not any of these guys. Milton Friedman. Milton Friedman was directing economic policy right now. We would be pouring money into green energy.
Yes.
We'd be pouring money into green energy. More than that, we'd be taking money that right now doesn't do anything because of how broken Social Security is. We'd be putting that into green energy and expecting 10, 20% returns to get the fund back afloat. But the problem is Republicans hate science. So instead of doing a smart thing and saying we're gonna invest in green energy, they want to be like, well, what about Solandra?
What about coal?
Yeah, what about coal? I need more coal mines. No, you don't. You don't need more coal mines. It's not profitable. And and at that point, you're asking for state intervention to you're doing the thing that you said that you're not about, right?
Right.
And why do I want to keep a coal plant open? It's not for the coal miners. It's not for any of those people. It's so that my voters can feel better about themselves. It's like the whole rolling coal movement. Oh, well, look at me.
It's political currency is what it is.
I want to be an asshole, and I want to be made to feel okay about being an asshole. And I want to be very clear about this whole I want to be an asshole. I'm an asshole. I'm a giant asshole. Anyone who knows me will be more than happy to tell you I'm an asshole. But I'm not I'm not without conscience, right? And I don't look at situations and say I'm going to be an asshole to someone simply for the sake of being. Well, no, sometimes simply for being the sake, but not often, right? It's not always just for simply being the sake of an asshole. Sometimes I'll just, it's simply a matter of I don't have a lot of bandwidth for stupid, right? And sometimes I can be an arrogant prick about it, which makes me an asshole. But these people want to be assholes and have arrogance for not doing anything worthwhile, right? They just want to feel angry about it. And again, the rolling coal thing. So, I mean, in terms of economics, it makes no sense. In terms of looking at raw numbers, it makes no sense. It is entirely an emotional response. And the truth is that, now that I can stepping away from it for several years, I can look back and be like, it was always an emotional response. It was never about facts when I was in the Republican Party. It was always about, if you were to try and meet a Democratic criticism of something you were proposing, it would just simply be about the emotion and not about the facts. Democrat could say, hey, listen, this proposal cuts school lunches. Well, government shouldn't be involved in, in school lunches. Well, hold on. You didn't actually, I mean, it's tricky, right? But you didn't actually answer the question, because they said this proposal cuts school lunches. Instead of saying yes, it does, and by this amount, you retreat to that emotional argument, that ideological argument.
Yeah.
It's not about the raw numbers of the thing, and because it's none of it will ever be about the raw numbers, because it will simply be about, at least now. I mean, I wish we had a true second party, because, I mean, quite frankly, I don't like Sanders, and it's not because I don't necessarily like his politics. I don't like Sanders because Sanders appeals only to emotion. I also don't like Manchin because Manchin is a fucking Republican in in Democrat clothing. Yes, Mark, you are quite correct. I want to put that up here for you. The government requires my kid to be in school. They should be required to feed them. Yes, they should, Mark.
Yes,
they should. In fact, the government, it's one of the things I keep on telling people. I'm more than happy to be anti-abortion the moment the government provides free birth control to everyone, free neonatal. I mean, if you're going to require the woman to carry the child, free neonatal care, guaranteed some level of housing, assistance with child care. Oh yeah, free child care, first of all. Also assistance with clothes and feeding, and paid family leave. Not at 2/3. No.
But that's socialism.
But you just told her she has to have the kid.
Right.
So guess what? I will be happy to stand shoulder to shoulder with, with Right to Life, which is, I hate even saying their name because they're just simply anti-choice. I will be more than happy to stand shoulder to shoulder with them when they will stand next to me and say, you know what, if we're going to ban abortion, then all the rest of that stuff has to be provided to every woman. And again, it's the logic of the situation. It's emotion, not realism, not rationalism of anything.
When's the last time the Right to Life Foundation was actually at a anti-death penalty march? Just saying. If I had to, label my Catholic politics, it's more along the lines of a Martin Sheen than anything.
Yeah, I mean, and as an Episcopalian, Catholic light, all the ritual and all the guilt. The way I look at it is this: everyone has to make their own choices all the time, and at the end of the day, from a theological perspective, one of the principal issues in the Episcopal Church is confession and forgiveness. Right. It's one of the reasons why we generally don't do real confession, simply because it's the most awkward thing you've ever done in your entire life. See, the Catholics get to have this little screen right between them. No. You don't get to have a screen in the Episcopal Church. You have to look the priest in the eye.
No.
Yeah. So, I mean, principal issue is learning to forgive yourself for things, and that if that's the more important thing. Like, if you're sorry for what you've done, that's great, but now you have to learn to forgive yourself for what you've done. And if you're actually repentant, that's kind of hard. Actually, you know what? I joke with people. If you want a primer on Episcopalianism, watch What Dreams May Come, because we don't have very many zealots, but Robin Williams was one of them. Like diehard zealot. You wouldn't think it, but see, this is the subterfuge of the Episcopal Church. Our zealots, it's like the Eddie Izzard skit, cake or death. Cake or death.
Yeah.
Would you
No
like cake
relation,
or
by
death?
the way. No relation,
Right.
by the way. Just a very similar name.
I keep on forgetting to pull these off here, but now that we've gone off into a religion tangent, I feel like it's time. We need to go ahead, especially given the hour. We need to go ahead and pull a beer break here. Da-da-da-da-da-da. Watch this, Lucas. I found the button. But not the one to hide the banner. So I was really excited when I saw, which I want to comment real fast to Red. From when I went to go pick this up, because they were super nice about it, and I'm like, wow, that's pretty expensive beer there. I'm like, but I really want to try it because it's from Three Floyds, and they're like, no, your beer club. We don't only do this, but for you, since I am the first member of beer club, they went ahead and cut me a break on it. But for those of you who don't know, Three Floyds, they're different people. They're very different. If you've ever seen the artwork on any of their stuff, it's pretty intense. I encourage you to go look at it. It looks like a 90s metal fever dream all the time. But this is the Twinkie Throne Lies Empty, and it's an Imperial IPA mixed with coffee.
Interesting.
Oh, and I gotta say, all right, so I don't hate it. I think the only issue that I have with it is that it's not an IPA. It's not a stout. It's not a porter. It's not even a brown ale. It's a barley wine. I don't know why they wanted to call this what they did. It's a little bitter for a barley wine, but it's a barley wine.
Okay.
I don't understand why they wouldn't just own up to it and be like, I mean, even the color, see how it diffuses a little bit on the edges?
Yeah.
That's classic barley wine. I mean, that's what I would expect to see. If I poured a barley wine, I would expect to see that slightly diffused color at the edges and that darkness at the middle, because of how the light is going to pass through the beer. Like a brown ale is going to be consistent all the way through, and you shouldn't see these lighter edges. But a barley wine, because of how it's put together and the particulate that's in it, it's going to get that lighter edge to it. It's intense, I gotta say. I'm not turned off by the alcohol note. I'm really not. First rule of beer club. I gotta put this up. I gotta put this up by Mark. First rule of beer club is we don't talk about beer club. No, I strongly encourage that if you're in Nashville and you live within range of Red, to go sign up for their beer club. It is an excellent deal. It's $30 a month, and it's half off every Monday. Filling growlers, which, considering when I was paying before they started that, what I was paying before I came on here every week was probably about $25 to $30 in beer for a custom built 6-pack. Which another thing that I love that they do. I know I'm plugging them at this point, but another thing that I love that they do is you can go in and they have an amazing beer selection, and you can just custom build any 6-pack you want. As long as it's not sealed up in a box, you can just pull it right off the 6-pack, put it in yours, and it's fine. So they have a wonderful system with that. So because every can is priced both by the 6-pack and by the single. So that's how they do that. So if you get a single, they just scan it in as a single, and they charge you a different price. And it's a little bit more than it would be like if you buy it as a 6-pack, you get a little bit of a discount. When you buy as a
Mhm.
single, it costs you a little bit more. But every week I would get to custom build my own singles. Then they started this beer club, and I started doing that. And half off growlers every single Monday meant like this one of Bell's Hop Slam, which I have as my reserve over here. Nope, that's number 9. There it goes. It's Bell's Hop Slam. That would normally run me $12 to fill that 32 ounce, and instead it runs me $6.
Okay.
I mean, it's pretty easy to justify the $30 a month, and they also give you a custom built 6-pack for $1 every month as well. So I mean, it's pretty easy to justify the price, even if I don't. Sometimes because of work, I don't go every week because sometimes work will give me a free 6-pack, and I'm just like, I can't hold that much beer in my fridge forever.
Yeah.
I actually have a few beers hanging out in my fridge right now on top of my February 6-pack. So I'm just like, I have a big enough fridge. It just can't simply hold that much beer.
Right.
So, some weeks I won't go, but it still pays for itself. But back to the Twinkie Throne lies empty. They want. No, I apologize. They didn't want to call this an IPA. They wanted to call it a golden stout. This is not a golden. This is not a stout. This is barley wine. I applaud Three Floyds for their ingenuity, also for their naming and graphics and everything else. I'm not going to recommend this to most people unless you really, really want. If you wanted to do this in a sifter and stifter, whatever. I don't remember how to pronounce the word. You want to do that in one of the little glasses, you could go ahead and do it in that. But
would it be something you would have again?
it would in a stiff the glass thing. Before I try and butcher that again, I would not do it in a giant pint glass because this is going to be a journey to get this one done. It's going to be a journey.
I'm trying something new myself here. Pepsi.
Yeah, for those of you who don't know,
I'm straight edge.
Rob here is on a diet and is not drinking with me.
Well, it's not diet, but I pretty much consider myself kind of gone straight edge. Maybe not as much on the punk music side of things, but yeah. I mean, I've never taken any illicit drugs before. Now I am on some prescriptions, I can tell you that. But
you failed, Rob. You failed straight edge school. Right there. Right there. Nothing for you, sir. Good day. No.
I'm on those so I don't go whoop whoop whoop.
Snozzberries taste like snozzberries.
Snozzberries.
That's where I'm at over here. He's over here being straight edge, and I'm over here like quoting scenes from Super Troopers. That's where I'm at.
Love that movie. We better start getting into some shenanigans here.
I mean, again, I'm the only one drunk enough for shenanigans. What are you supposed to sit there and do? What do you? Oh. No.
I have my kids. That's what keeps me kind of,
See, here I am, just hanging out by myself, doing my thing. So, I'd ask you the next question, with regards to, neither of us being Republicans anymore. Do you feel okay in the Democratic Party? As you take
sometimes yes, sometimes no.
Go on.
Okay, so the whole the Joe Manchin thing and the Christian cinema. Yeah, the Manchin and cinema. drives me up the wall. Because they're basically, it seems more of an ego trip for Manchin because of the slim margins that he could be pretty much, he sees himself as a kingmaker at this point, in essence, because of his vote is the, well, it's the needed 50th vote, Kamala Harris being the tiebreaker, but everyone goes to him because he's the key vote. Depending on what cinema is up to, of course, but it's usually goes to him as far as that side. The other aspect is I'm not a fan of Nancy Pelosi at all.
and why? I mean, if I may ask, because honestly, like I've heard, I'm not her biggest fan either. Mostly because I disagree with some of her political stances.
Yeah.
But I mean, she is a master politician. I got to give her credit for that. She definitely does keep. When I worked in the Senate, we always referred to the House as a group of feral cats, and she does a pretty damn good job of herding the cats.
Yeah, but you could say the same thing about Mitch McConnell.
No, well, like the Senate is not the House. The Senate is a far easier thing to steer than I would argue the House is.
I'll give you that. Yeah.
Because I mean, they're there for 6 years. There's a working relationship, as opposed to the House, where people are there for 2 years. There's more of them, and many of them represent much smaller slices of America, right? Which means that their allegiances to any given thing are much more isolated, right? Like MTG, MTG doesn't represent the state of Georgia. MTG will never be a senator from the state of Georgia, right?
Right.
But she can be the representative of Georgia 14th.
Right.
Oh, a wild Lucas appeared.
Oh! We're fired.
No, not we're. I am. That's what's happened now. That's what's happening now. The boss is showing up to tell me how badly I fucked it up.
No,
right now.
I was able to take a peek or two. I haven't really been able to take a lot of peeking. But it looked like everything was going great. And so I managed to get back in time to hop in and say hi. I can't stay long, but Rob, I'm so glad you could join in. And it looks like you guys have been having a good time, and I can't wait to watch it back. I would be at one of two or both breweries that were across the street from the restaurant that we went to this evening, but they're both closed on, well, one of them's closed on Mondays and Tuesdays, and the other one closed at 7. So I didn't have the chance to make it.
Bitches.
I know. But I'm hoping to try them tomorrow. I did try a new beer tonight that I'm going to have to look up and know more about before I talk about it. But I'm going to try to bring home some beer from here in New Hampshire. So it'll be fun to see what I come up with.
Well, I mean, you're gonna have to rewatch the show and see my review of Twinkie God.
Oh, I can't wait.
Twinkie Throne lies empty because
Twinkie God. I heard about the Pepsi. I watched for a few minutes while I set up a reasonably acceptable hotel room backdrop. It's weird how boring they look when you try to figure out how to make it.
Yours doesn't look that boring, I gotta say.
Do you see what I'm doing here? I'm color coordinating.
There you go. I can't wait to watch the football band.
No, there's like 3 different shades of blue there, Rob. No. I mean, I'm not even Lucas. I'm not Lucas, and I'm going to say no to that because
Pepsi's a sponsor of the halftime show this year.
Oh, now I see what you did there. But how's your retro hip hop? That's what's important. I'm looking forward to this halftime show more than almost anything else. Especially, I don't really have a dog in the hunt for the game. Some of the ads are starting to shape up, though. That's cool.
Yeah. I like Dre, so I'm looking forward to Dre. So
I flipped out when I saw the little promo. I was like, "Oh, it keeps getting better."
Yeah. I mean, you're close enough to Cincinnati that you can have a dog in the hunt. Actually, I'm closer to Cincinnati than you are now. Yeah, I am.
I don't know. I think Grand Rapids and Nashville are equidistant.
to Cincinnati.
But I'm up here where no one cares about any of it because Patriots. That's where I am currently.
Oh well, that's right.
Oh,
You're in New Hampshire.
It's nothing but very butthurt Brady fans in this part of the.
Well, I mean, they got Mac Jones.
He's playing for the Bucks. He's playing for the Bucks.
Yeah, but they're double butthurt because they didn't get mentioned in the tweet and they lost.
Oh, yes.
Oh, that's right.
Oh,
yeah.
Brady doesn't love you like you. I mean, like you love him. Surprise, surprise.
There you go.
Who would have thought? Literally everybody.
Well, I just wanted to say hi. I think I'm going to go perform some positive office politics and have a drink in the exceptionally boring hotel bar with some coworkers. But and it's nothing against them. It's the hotel. It's just not really a concept in this bar, but it beats walking in the wet slush over to an actual bar outside. So we'll see how that goes. I'm gonna see if this hotel guy can make an old fashioned. We'll see how it works out.
Everybody can make an old fashioned. Who can't make an old?
You say that, and if you say that, then you've clearly not ordered enough old fashions because there's a 20% fuck up rate on average.
What you're saying is you're a giant lush.
If you have standards in whiskey, that's not necessarily a bad thing.
So you're in New Hampshire. Have you come across President Bartlett's ranch in New Hampshire?
No. I doubt that it's close to where I am, but there are sites that I'm going to try to see. I can't make up my mind whether to wait until one day when I can go to Bangor, Maine, which is the actual inspiration of Stephen King's Derry, or to Derry, New Hampshire, which is just a few minutes from here, which is kind of the namesake and the region. So I don't know if I want to go there and like buy a red balloon and hang it on a grate and stand there and take a selfie. But anyway, there's going to be a lot to see in the summer when the weather's better. It's not really great walking. They have some pretty impressive snowbank going on, so there's not a lot of reliable walking space. But damn, the food's been pretty good. The seafood is very fresh. So
you've been talking about so just to clarify, so Lucas and I do talk outside the show every now and then when it's actually like pretty much it's just mandated by other things. But
there's always that 30 minutes where you can tell that David doesn't want to be left alone on a Tuesday night after the show. You can feel the darkness, and you eventually get to sign off, and then you wake up at 3 a.m. to take a piss, and you see like 30 drunk texts from David as he continues to pontificate upon whatever it was we were talking about.
I'm not gonna lie, with this barley wine bullshit, it's Jesus, Mary, Joseph. So
you're saying David has his own personal after show?
I want to clarify.
There's the after show conversation.
How fast I normally drink. I poured this thing like 30 minutes ago, and
Nice.
This is how far I've gotten.
That's funny.
This is, I mean, as I told Rob earlier, this is going to be a journey.
Is it heavy duty?
They wanted to call it a golden stout. It is not a golden stout. This is straight barley wine. Like of the most intense degree that I think I've had in a long. I think Victory made a barley wine once that I would compare this to, which was like 1 12-ounce bottle was enough to make you talk shite and fall over, and we're on the same level here.
Well, I tried with dinner the Allagash White. That was the regional beer that was recommended to me by.
Would it surprise you that I've actually had that before and I liked it?
Really? Okay. Well, I mean, I liked it. I thought it was pretty good. It's a Belgian wheat, and trying to look up where exactly it's from, but I was told it was a very go-to regional standard, so that was the one that I chose to order.
That sounds about right.
But there's a beer shop really close to the office, and I'm going to try to pick up a bunch of cans, bring home a variety. So fair warning to people, I'm probably going to be reviewing New England beers for the next 6 weeks, but it's going to be an opportunity to bring home a little flavor. They are Portland, Maine. That's where they're hailing from. So there, I already tried one. There we go. Anyway, I'm gonna let you guys get back to your thing. It looks like it's going well. Thank you both for doing the cover, and of course, thank all of you for watching. So, bye, guys.
Bye. Way to go. There it goes. Ha. Tried to remove him, and he tried to remove himself at the same time. I jumped the gun a little. No, but I mean, to round out sort of the idea, I think both of us feel. Oh, pardon me. No, we were talking about whether or not you felt comfortable as a Democrat.
Yeah.
Or with the Democratic Party. I personally feel very okay with it, mostly because I recognize that the Democratic Party is an actual Big Tent party. I definitely look at the Republican Party and how they've, especially this past week, where they've gone full. You have to goose step on the same march with us. I mean, Liz Cheney is no progressive. She is no liberal. Neither is Kissinger, right?
Right.
Kinzinger,
yeah.
Kinzinger, whatever the hell his name.
Yeah.
Same difference. I've been drinking. I don't matter. Drinking something really strong, apparently. No, I mean, these are not progressives. These are not liberal people, but somehow they have to be punished for not like goose stepping to the same time as the rest of the party. I don't think that's something Democrats would ever be comfortable with. Again, I'm not a big Bernie fan. I don't like AOC. I'm actually a big Warren fan, and the reason I love Warren is because Warren showed. My joke sometimes is, I'm a reincarnation of William Pitt. His famous phrase was, what do you enjoy, Mr. Pitt? A good balance sheet, sure. I don't know. A good balance sheet, sir. It's bad. It's bad. This barley wine is bad.
We need to do a blooper reel.
Right? Except it's all live. There is no blooper reel. A good balance sheet, sir, is his quote. But I love Warren for the fact that she shows up with proposals and wants to figure out how to pay for it. I mean, Bernie never has any idea of like, oh, I want to cancel student debt. Great. How do we do that? Like, how do we pay for it? What do we do? AOC is in the same vein. God knows.
Wasn't Elizabeth Warren like a former Republican? Wasn't she a Republican at one point?
She was,
like way back when.
Yeah, she was. Elizabeth Warren is another recovering Republican who has now become and again, like what is, if you look at it, really smart Republicans become really progressive Democrats. Because they're like, wait a second, I'm not an asshole. Or I am an asshole, but not like that. I like numbers better, and it's the same thing. It'll be really interesting to see what happens with this student debt coming due here at the beginning of March and how that's going to be handled. Because I mean, a lot of households. I mean, already you're seeing a lot of households really buckling under the fact that without the extra child tax credit, how many are being driven back into poverty because. Manchin decided to stamp his feet and make this whole case. Well, they're going to use it for drugs. Manchin, what you do in your own fucking personal time with whatever ill-gotten gains you've got on your fucking... He lives on a fucking houseboat. How much of a fucking asshole do you have to be in Washington, D.C. and live on a fucking houseboat? And I want to point this out. And you live in a landlocked state. You are not sailing the houseboat home. Right. Where are you going with the houseboat? Listen, if you wanted to show that you were closer to your constituency, there's plenty of trailer parks in Maryland and Virginia where you could have parked that mobile home or that jacked up RV and been perfectly fine. But no. You needed a swanky fuck pad for whatever you were pulling off the DC prostitute circuit to bring back home. Look at me. I live in the swankiest version of a trailer park that there could ever exist, which is a fucking houseboat. Because if you've ever lived or been on a houseboat, that's what it is, especially in America. And these are not Dutch houseboats. Dutch houseboats are an entirely different story. Those are not trailer parks. But American houseboats are waterborne trailer parks.
I've seen one. I've never been on one, but
it's not good, dude. It's not good. You're looking at being like, that's what the toilet does. Oh, that's not right. That can't be sanitary, can it?
I mean, I'm 45 minutes away from Lake Hartwell. There's a lot of boats out there, houseboats. You know?
But really, houseboats? Like they live.
I mean, you're talking about the border of Georgia and South Carolina being Lake Hartwell. So yeah, you're going to run.
Okay. That makes sense. But I mean, if you've never been on a houseboat, it is like all the problems of owning a boat, which is what does boat stand for? About another 1,000. And owning a home, which is you have carpets, you have beds, and everything else. So I mean, it's not a good. You look at someone like, if you can afford to own a houseboat and live on a nice houseboat, you know that he has staff to come in there and clean it out.
Right.
I mean, if you're so concerned about stuff, just go live. I mean, go live in a trailer. Why do you, a senator from a landlocked state, live in a houseboat?
It doesn't make any sense. But
I mean, if he was the senator from Rhode Island, I would understand, because God knows no one actually wants to enter Rhode Island. But I just pull my boat up to the edge of Rhode Island. If Chafee was still their senator, I would completely get it. I'd be like, oh, no, it's Chafee's boat. Actually, I wonder if it is Chafee's boat. Just pull the boat up to the edge. Just pull it up to the edge. Hello? Wave at the boat. Still a Democrat, and therefore still your senator. Okay, great. Sail the boat back down the coast to Washington. I mean, I don't understand. But no, I mean, when Manchin looks around there and says that people are spending this on drugs, I as I regularly point out, like, we don't have a two-party system; we have a two-coalition system, and I feel like you and I were definitely part of a party that has been dropped from the coalition of the Republican the Republican coalition of sensible people who want sensible government and don't want to be racist, are not enamored with racism or bigotry or this needless pursuit of emotional gratification over realism.
Right.
And
that Dole, Kemp, George H.W. Bush line of Republicans.
Well, I mean, but the sad thing is, even Dole at the end kowtowed, and I don't know why. I look at him and you look at him and you're like, why did you want to kiss the ring of Trump as Dole? And it is that I feel like with many of those people who were on that side, they wanted to feel emotionally relevant. Like, I look at Don McGahn, right? Who is not a radical, but somehow, like, he turns around and all of a sudden he realizes, if I want another job, I'm going to have to get it from other Republicans, and they're going to be overly emotional. And so therefore I have to be emotional about protecting Trump. Or if you're Lamar Alexander, who is notorious for being a relatively moderate Republican, relatively on the slight conservative side, but to listen to him and watch him kiss the ring, it's just so sad.
Yeah.
Simply because, and you wonder, why do you do it? Well, because I want my kids to have good jobs. And the way my kids get good jobs is I go, kiss the ass, give the full rim job, eat the chocolate and pretend like I like it, Yeah, I went there.
Marco Rubio. Excuse me.
Right? You look at these people and it's like that's the only way. That's the only way that they get good jobs is they have to go get jobs from people who are more invested in the emotion of what they want to feel rather than the reality of government. And I think it's a very sad statement as to what the Republican Party has become. Especially this week when they said I don't care if I had been in the Capitol. If I had been still working on the Hill on January 6th, I would be looking at my bosses who were saying, no, it's legitimate political discourse, being like, they were coming to kill you and me. And you just said that that's okay. Why the fuck would I ever work for you again?
Right.
Like,
Yeah.
what, are you kidding me? They were coming to fucking kill me.
They had a thing outside. What was that thing that they were going to, they want to hang Pence?
Yeah. And they had a gallows as well. They had a guillotine and a gallows.
Yeah. And they're saying hang Mike Pence. I mean, geez.
Like they were going to hang you. They were going to hang you. And now you want to go kiss their ass. And you want us to go kiss their ass for you.
It's classic.
If I was a Republican staff, if I was a Republican staffer, I would be looking so hard for the exit. It would break the moment I found it. It would just simply be like a Roadrunner cartoon, dude. Boom, straight out the door. I can't.
But how many of these, I know you have the DeSantis's, you have the McMaster we have here. How many of those are doing it for their own gain to sucker up, and how many of these are just plain old Stockholm syndrome folks that have just kind of,
who knows? It's hard to tell. I think Rubio is just that much of a sissy, weak ass bitch.
True.
I don't think Rubio is a strong personality. I think if you're looking at Ted Cruz, he's gaming it. Having actually spoken to one of MTG's former campaign workers, it is all an act for her.
I get that. It's pretty much like professional wrestling for her.
Yeah, it is. I mean, it's how she thinks that modern politics should work. Is that it's an act for her, and she wins by keeping cameras on her. It's probably the same to a certain extent for Bobbert, who's just as much of a worthless shitheel. Yeah. The only difference is Bobbert is not looking so good in the polls. She's likely to get voted out and go to prison.
Well, her state's a little bit more sane, I would say.
Yeah, Georgia,
district.
Georgia has a lot of problems right now. Colorado has a lot of problems. West Virginia and Idaho have the worst problems. And then there's Texas, which, I don't know if I've mentioned my legal theory of federal interdict here. How long can you operate without the United States Post Office, Governor Abbott?
or a suitable power grid.
Well, a suitable power grid. How long can you operate without the federally funded United States Post Office, or for that matter, the United States Customs clearing vehicles through the border? How long would you like to play this game? I'll break you before you break me, bitch. So, it's there's hope, but I mean, I think we need to acknowledge that the Republican coalition has lost a significant portion of its sanity, and it's adopted white supremacy as part of its coalition. It's adopted pure rage politics as part of its coalition,
and they're not even hiding it at this point.
And exactly, I mean, but that's part of the that's part of the rage coalition's demand, though, right?
Yeah.
Is they don't want you to hide anymore. They want you to embrace the rage and show them that it is the rage.
Absolutely. And this is why I kind of keep a few of these Republican friends that think this way on Facebook, because it's kind of like, going to a museum and seeing dinosaurs,
Damn. I mean,
sorry, did I put that out there?
Yeah, I actually have cut most of them loose. I mean, I had to cut a lot of people loose after I was okay with a lot of Second Amendment talk until the Las Vegas shooting. And the problem was I had friends down the hall from where that went down.
Oh shit.
And they were very much convinced that, like, holy shit, we're gonna die. They were texting people out being like, thank you all very much. Like we're like the gunshots are going off. Like and I want to clarify, these people were avid gun owners. The people who were down the hall, they were avid gun owners. Even stuff where I would be like, I don't even as someone who is maybe slightly more neutral on the Second Amendment, like, I don't think you need a Mac 10 with a bump stock. Right. Yeah. And after Las Vegas, they were like, no, we got rid of all of it. We sold all of it.
Yeah. See, for me, it was Sandy Hook. Because, I got 2 kids are in elementary school. My wife teaches at an elementary school. They're going to school each day. I presume they're going to come home. But I don't know now.
Right? I mean, when we have Republicans more concerned about masks in schools than we do about guns in schools. I laugh so much. Someone pointed out AOC, actually. Again, I don't necessarily like about 30% of what she does, but I like some of her stuff. Apparently, specifically Bobbert and some members of the Freedom Caucus were upset about the fact that there's now a metal detector to enter onto the floor of the House. And AOC's comment was, well, you thought that was fine for elementary school kids.
Ooh,
what's wrong
burn.
Now? Right?
Yeah.
What now, bitch? What now?
you said put some ointment on that burn.
It's insanity. And I think that I think you and I are definitely on the same page about, we're of a similar coalition, and I think the moral of the story is that the Republican Party as a coalition has cut a lot of people loose, and it's time to recognize who they've cut loose, which was the people who are trying to keep them centered in reality, and that now it's become a party of fairy tales, right? It's become a party of making blood sacrifices to Baal or some shit. I don't know.
It reminds me of the classic drug addict that just pushes away every positive influence that they have in their life because they're so addicted to this thing that they're hooked on.
Right. I mean, the thing that they're addicted to is they wanted to be. Oh, wait, we have one last comment before we head for the door. Slideshow this. I don't even care if people want to own ridiculous firearms for vanity reasons. I just want them to properly registered and tracked and a more streamlined background check. Totally. Olivia, I'm going to be honest. I'm going to disagree for this reason. You can own a grenade launcher right now. You can own a mortar launcher. You can legally own an RPG. You can legally own a Mod Deuce, which, for those of you who don't know what a Mod Deuce is, Wikipedia will help you. It is. There's no reason for this, right? Your little insurrection is not going to stop a wave of Predator and Reaper drones from sending you straight to fucking hell. you don't have anything that's going to pierce the armor of an M1 Abrams. I'm not gonna lie. The Striker is a piece of shit. You have a fighting chance against that piece of shit. But I mean, generally speaking, all the rest of it, you're fucked. You're really super fucked. Not just a little fucked. Not just super fucked. Like the Hulk's fist up the asshole and then twist.
That's one hell of a fisting.
Right? You're fucked. You're super fucked. You don't have a chance. And we need to acknowledge that the idea of a citizen militia is not real anymore, right? Unless we want to change how the National Guard works, unless we want to change how that works. And I fully support that. I actually very much support the idea that we should change how the National Guard works. I fully support the idea that we should change how the idea of a militia in the United States. You know, personally, I would like to say, if given the opportunity to show up on the Village Green every weekend, be like, yeah, sure, I'll learn how to use a bunker buster. I'll be required at the call of the governor to show up and form the militia. Okay. I should own a gun then, because I'm part of the militia. Now, Billy Bob over in bumfuck Tennessee with his customized AR-14 is not going to show up to defend the goddamn Republic. He's not. He's not gonna. Like when summoned by law, he's not gonna show. He's not gonna show up to defend the goddamn Republic. So you know what? Billy Bob doesn't need to own his customized AR-15, AR-14, AR-13. I don't care. Yes, all those guns do in fact exist. You don't need it. Why? Because he's not a member of the goddamn militia.
Rittenhouse.
Right? So yes, I'm sorry. Thank you for Olivia for helping me let loose that screed. Also, thank you, Three Floyds, for this giant thing of barley wine, which I'm now consuming, which is how to let loose that screed. We have to end now before I let loose any other screeds, thanks to this barley wine, because goddamn, Jesus, Mary, and fucking Joseph, that is ridiculous shit. It should not be consumed. And so in German, this is called a Mass. Yeah. No Mass. No Mass. No Mass. No Mass. For the Twinkie throne lies empty. Don't do that. Don't do what I've done. Please, God, don't do that. It's so bad. It's not good. Things are coming out of my mouth that shouldn't. So on that note, on that note, we need to end for this evening. So if you know the screed, so I'm going to help. I'm going to start it out for you. I just need to finish it up. Good night.
Good luck.
No. Good night. Good
evening.
And good luck.
Good luck.